Masters are calling the meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. If everyone could please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God, liberty and justice for all. All right. Are there any announcements? Carol Ann mentioned that there's an master role that is open, and I was going to sign up online, but I didn't because I thought Sam might want to do it. The master role. Do you keep track of the ahs, ums, ers, and pregnant pauses? Okay. Thank you, Sam. And with no further ado, I would like to welcome our Toastmaster of the morning, Carol Ann Halstead. Welcome, Carol.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. We can start with the inspiration, which Darcy will be doing today. I believe she's online. Darcy?
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and if there's any guests present. F-E-A-R. Does that strike fear into your heart? Me neither. Halloween's over. So you can forget everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Darcy. Okay. Now, today my theme is significant November days. And first of all, I have seen that some of our members have November birthdays, so I'd just like to wish a happy birthday to anybody who has a November birthday in the group and any of their family members. Before we get into the roll holders, I'd just like to start with one significant day that has just passed, and it's Election Day. And the Election Day is the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. So it can be from the 2nd to the 8th of November. And the president, vice president, and Congress, and most governors are elected in even number years. And the presidential elections are held every 4 years, and they're in years that are divisible by 4. The election of the House of Representatives and Senate is every 2, representatives having 2-year terms and Senate 6. They're held, originally the day Tuesday was chosen because the harvest would be completed by November, winter not set in yet. People could attend church on the Sunday before, and the farmers market was on Wednesdays. And November 1st was All Saints Day, plus most people did their bookkeeping on the 1st of the month. And so let me call on our job holders. First of all, the word masker, Mike Florio, tell us the word of the day.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmaster, and I do not see any guests out there. Let's see, my wife was born in November 4th. Her birthday just passed, Dee. So that was a happy moment for sure. So that on that, I'll say the word for today is serendipity.
Oh,
And that's a happy accident. So I guess my wife's birth, I didn't know what the theme was today. So I don't know if you'd call my wife's birth a happy accident, but for me it was. Is that coming across the right way? Because I see it as backwards.
no, we can see it.
Yes.
Good.
It's
Oh,
perfect.
oh,
Perfect.
Good. All right. Serendipity and unplanned, fortunate, well, not accident, discovery, we'll call it. And on here, the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. Serendipity kind of rolls off the tongue, too.
Okay, we have Master, and the role will be filled by Sam this morning. If you'd like to come up and tell us what that involves.
Morning. By some serendipity, I'm taking this role today for the first time. So I'll be looking for ahs, ums, so's, and other filler words, and I'll report back at the end.
And our grammarian, Dave Licata, hiding in the corner over here.
There was a presidential election on November 2nd in 1948. Talk about serendipity. My mom was looking forward to voting in her first presidential election, but I had other plans. That's the day I was born, the night that Truman upset Dewey. So, I am grammarian. I'd like to point out that I'm not as gifted with this job as others. I don't know the rules, but I do know what sounds right and what doesn't sound right. Be on your toes, because if I hear ta instead of tu, I'm going to lose my mind. It's driving me crazy. Avoid the phrase, you know, like the plague, because I say, no, we don't know. That's why we're letting you speak. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster.
And I see that Yang is assigned to Quote Master. However, I don't see her online. Would anyone possibly have a quote in mind? Think. So, no.
Carol, I can come up with a quote from my planner if you'd like.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. If we wait for the moment when everything is ready, we shall never begin. From Ivan Turgenev.
Thank you. And Margot, would you have a jest for us this morning?
I would. And speaking of November holidays, John and Joan had been married for a long time, 50 years, and they had this huge party and everybody loved it. But a few months later, John calls up his son and he says, "Hey, Junior, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to divorce your mother. I'm throwing her out. I'm done." Well, his son, of course, Junior, gets very upset and said, "Dad, we just had this party. You two were so in love. It was wonderful." "All an act," John says. "Forget it. I'm throwing her out." He says, "Well, let me talk to Mom. I told you, she's not here." And he hangs up on his son. Junior gets very, very upset and calls his sister and says, "Sissy, you won't believe what just happened. Dad called me and said he's thrown Mom out. They're getting divorced." And of course, his sister gets all upset. "They had that party. That was so in love. Everything seemed wonderful. What are we going to do?" So she says, "Let me call there and I'll talk." So she calls home and gets her father and she says, "Let me talk to Mom." Told your brother she's not here. I threw her out. She's spending my money. She's giving me orders. I'm done. I'm throwing her out. Okay. So she calls her brother back and she says, Dad's intent. He says they're getting divorced. They talk about it. They can't figure out what to do. So finally he says, look, are you off for Thanksgiving? I'm off for Thanksgiving. Why don't we go home for Thanksgiving and we'll counsel them. We'll get everything straightened around. Given that idea, Junior calls his father back and he says, okay, Dad, Sissy and I are coming home with our families for Thanksgiving. Don't throw Mom out till we get there. And John says, okay. And after arguing for a few minutes, about how horrible his mother is, hangs up the phone, walks into the living room, sits down and says, okay, Joni, I got him home for Thanksgiving. You get him home for Christmas. Madam Toastmaster.
You. Okay, our next job holder, Nancy Ferry, will be our timer today.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I don't know if it was serendipitous that I was born. The election day was on my birthday this year. It is every so many years. I was trying to figure it out, but with leap year in there, it screws me all up. I'm never sure. Today I will be the timer. I will time table topics, speeches, and evaluations. Table topics is 1 to 2 minutes with a 15-second buffer. Speeches are 5 to 7 with a 30-second buffer unless I hear otherwise. Evaluations 2 to 3 minutes with a 30-second buffer. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
And I see that our quiz master assignment is Kate Orr. She is.
I am here. I'm on
You
Zoom.
are there. Okay. Thank you.
I wondered, I am going to have to leave a little early today, so maybe my report can be first and I'll head out when we get to that point, unless somebody else would like to take that. Oh, you know what? I was just texting with Yang and she was waiting to get on, but something with the link. And so she would have been on time for Quote Master. Now she's here. Maybe she would be Quiz Master instead. Hey, Yang, do you mind being, good morning. I'm glad you made it work. Can you be Quizmaster instead of me today? Because I can't stay past 8-ish. Can you stay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
And ask some questions at the end.
Okay.
All right. So Yang, I'll introduce Yang. She's a Yang. I'm sorry, Yang. I was the one who asked pronunciation. Yang will be our Quizmaster. Have you done this role before yet?
Yes, I did a long time. Yeah.
All right. It's a lot of listening, and she'll ask questions of you at the end. And it was very serendipitous that she arrived right now and I arrived a little late. So I think that we will make this always work. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. And let's see, so that. Okay, prior to going into table topics, another day in November, which is memorable, is Veterans Day. It was originally called Armistice Day, an armistice being a formal agreement to stop fighting, and that was at the end of World War I. And on Veterans Day, it was it's celebrated at the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month. And it became a national holiday in 1938, but that was just for World War I veterans. In 1954, it was designated at the day to honor all veterans. Now we will go into our table topics, and Mike Licata is our table topics master today.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. This table topics is extemporaneously speaking. It is 1 to 2 minutes using the word of the day so you can qualify for the voting. Madam Toastmaster, I want to thank you for this topic. It made table topics incredibly easy this morning. Given November is a time of seasonal change and everything like that, I will start off table topics with Marty. Marty, what's your favorite thing to do in November, this time of year, this type of weather? And don't forget to use the word serendipitous. Marty.
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master, fellow members, and any guests that may be coming up on Zoom. Or walking in the door, as Dave Licata and I almost helped usher a potential new member into the door. His name is Jeff, and he's going to be trying to stop by at one of our next meetings. He's going to adjust his schedule, his workout schedule, and then come to our meeting possibly, and then work out another day. In November, I always look forward to Veterans Day. I was not a veteran. My father is considered, though he's deceased, he's considered a veteran because he was training at Fort Dix during the Korean War conflict, and he didn't go to Korea. His group was the last group to go as the war was winding down, so he did not have to go to Korea. However, it's serendipitous that what I'm going to be talking about next, quickly, at work, where I work at TOPS, I periodically run into veterans, not only on Veterans Day, but many days of the week. And many of them always have their hat that says veteran, Veterans Foreign War, career, something on it. And I always just take a minute to say hi to them. And sometimes that leads to them telling me a table topic or introducing themselves to me. And I always make sure that I try to learn something from them, where they were, and thank them, and helps with historical facts and figures and times and dates that a lot of us may forget because we don't use that often. So it's with serendipity, Mr. Topics Master, that during the month of November, I enjoy working and running into people that are veterans. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Marty. And next, I will turn to Zoomland. One of our former members is graced us with his presence this morning. Dave Shannon. Dave, I want to add another part. Thanksgiving is another huge part of November, and I want to ask you what your favorite part about Thanksgiving is this morning. Dave Shannon.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanksgiving is serendipitous for me because Thanksgiving is right around my birthday. I was born on November 24th, and sometimes Thanksgiving lands right on my birthday. So my parents would always say, "Oh, Dave, look, you're the turkey today." I said, "Yeah, I'm the turkey today. Do I get my favorite pie?" And they said, "Oh, maybe we'll work that out." But Thanksgiving down when I used to live in New York City, it was always a great time of year. The tree was just up for Christmas. It comes in the middle of November. We can go down and see that. And my father would take us to the Museum of Natural History, and being a science teacher, he had to show us everything. But I look forward because in the fall, there was always a push cart in front of the museum that would have not only have the normal pretzels, but soft pretzels, but they would also have hot chestnuts. And my father could always bribe me to come down to the museum and for the hot chestnuts. And then we tried once to go to the Thanksgiving Day parade. It is crazy, 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 crazy. The people camp out there for the day before. So Thanksgiving is special to me, not only because it's my birthday, but memories of going down to New York City and enjoying all the festivities that happen down there and the hot chestnuts and seeing the floats go by and then seeing family. Thanksgiving was family time, and that's really great. Thank you so much for welcoming me. I know I'm going to try and make it more to the meetings. Have a great day, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dave. And our final table topics contestant is I will ask Steve up. Steve, I'm sorry. I think you're the last one that doesn't have a job this morning. Steve, what's your favorite part of November? I know you're a big Halloween man. I just wasn't sure what comes next for you this time of year.
Well, thank you. What happens in November? Nothing. And that's a good thing. Because of what you mentioned, we've just been through. We did 2 days of our haunted Halloween haven down there. I was involved in 2 different plays during October. And with all of that, I'm kind of burnt out. So I'm glad that there's not much of anything going on in November. Because it's going to take us probably most of the month to put all the Halloween away. And with the weather forecast doesn't look too promising, so we're going to be fighting weather as well as daylight because we're losing that now. So I don't know. You can consider that serendipitous if you want to, that nothing happens in November because it's kind of a transition month. Calm down from all that. Look forward to Thanksgiving, of course. Of course, we get all of that down. Now it's time to start setting up all the Christmas toys outside, which we enjoy. Don't get me wrong. It is fun. But we had an incident just this morning. We come walking out. We have this massive 20 by, I think it's 18 tent where we put all our stuff for Halloween to keep it protected. I go out there and I'm looking up and I see daylight. I shouldn't see daylight. I go around the backside. The tent roof is peeled off. So now we got to go home and fix that. So November is fun one way or the other. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Steve. And next, I will ask our word report. Mike, how did Serendipitous do with our table topics people this morning?
All of our contestants, Mike, used the word serendipity.
All right.
I did my best to try and help people see it.
Okay. Thank you.
It's perfect. How's your golf game? Okay.
The season's over, but it was a lot of fun this year.
Good.
Next
Good.
up to Nancy, who will
I
give
missed
us
you
our
guys.
timers report.
No time for chat now. Everybody, please mute yourself.
I'm happy to report that everyone qualified as far as time. Marty, 135. Dave Channon, 204. Steve, 121.
Thank you, Madam Timer. And with that, I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster and encourage everyone to vote for Marty, Dave Shannon, or Steve Smith. Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, another November event, which many of you were not even thought of at the time, was November 22nd, 1963, which most probably recognized was the assassination of JFK. On the CBS network, Walter Cronkite was the moderator, and As the World Turns, a soap opera at the time, was on, and there was a brief interruption that said that the motorcade that John F. Kennedy was in, had there 3 shots had been heard. He had been seriously wounded. And then they went back to the soap opera, apparently. I've looked it up recently. And then Walter Cronkite, a very emotional response, had to tell the nation that Kennedy had died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. I was in high school and we were in study hall when we heard about it. And that was the last period. And as we were leaving, many girls were sobbing at their lockers as we were leaving. And five of us walked to school together, walked home. We ended up, it was at Niagara Falls High School. We all stopped into St. Joseph's Church just to kind of sit and think about it, kind of say a prayer. And all of us that were around at the time remember Jackie Kennedy with that pink outfit on, covered in blood, which she didn't take off, and rode on the plane as Johnson was being inaugurated, her standing next to him with that. And of course, we'll all remember, and I'm sure most people have seen a picture of JFK Jr. saluting his dad as the casket went by. Now, there was a Warren Commission to investigate this assassination, find out all the facts. Well, they decided that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, but did he? And there was no conspiracy, but wasn't there? Now we will proceed into our table topics. Our speaker portion. Let me see. Marshall, is he there?
Hi.
Hi, Marshall. Tracy, you are Marshall's evaluator. Could you tell us something about his speech?
I absolutely can. Today, Marshall's going to be speaking from the visionary communication pathway. He's at level 3, researching and presenting. The purpose of his speech is to learn or review some basic research methods and present a well-organized speech. Madam Toastmaster, do you have it's 5 to 7 minutes, Mr. Timer. And Madam Toastmaster, you have his speech title?
I do.
Right, I'll send it to you.
Marshall's speech title is Why We Always Copy. Marshall, why we always copy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please look around you. I guess maybe there are some things made in China. But I can tell you that almost nothing invented by the Chinese. That's why some American medias called us copycat. China had 20% populations of the world. You know, we are so smart and diligent. But there are not many serendipities happening on Chinese. What's wrong with our innovations? Why we just go big and go big? I think that's because our thinking pattern has 3 big mistakes. Obedience to authority, black or white thinking, precise answers on mind. Let's talk about it. First, if you are a Chinese child, what will you be taught most? Yes. Obedience. You must obey your parents, grandparents, teachers, etc. Even after you grow up, you need to obey your boss. If you have different opinions in your little brain, you will be in trouble. Years ago, if children liked playing computer games, video games, or disobeyed their parents, they would be put into the Internet Addiction Recovery Schools. The education of those schools were quite simple. Electroshock therapy. The teachers tied the students on the bed and gave them electric shock for 1 or 2 hours every day. Many students were killed by the electroshock therapy, and many of them graduated but got mental disease and suicide. After some of the teachers were put in prison, those schools changed their names and still running now. Because parents need obedience from their children. Some Chinese people always complain why the richest Chinese person is selling mineral water. Well, your richest person, Elon Musk, is launching rockets. Because Chinese Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs are undergoing electroshock therapy. Because they like playing video games and want to drop out of school. Second, many Chinese have black or white thinking. In their world, things must be right or wrong without the third option. A lot of Chinese believed Japan is a better country, while Iran is a good country. Donald Trump is a coward, while Putin is a hero. Mother Teresa is an evil woman, while North Korean President Kim Jong-un is a kind-hearted man. You know what? You, American, taught me totally different answers. So a person or a country is extremely complex. In 1,000 people's eyes, there are 1,000 different Donald Trump. Third, many Chinese like to precise answers on math. Before they know someone or something, they already have answers. Like my father, he told me, my friend went to Europe. Oh, wow, which country? Japan. Dad, I think he might went to Asia. Liar! You must be brainwashed by your US friends. They live in Asia, so they tell you Japan belongs to Asia, right? Dad, I think my US friend might live in North America. I will never heard this continent. When my father drunk with his friend, half of their time talked about the presidents of the bigger countries. It sounds like they are friends over there. Maybe their pocket money couldn't afford a bottle of Coca-Cola, but they can't live without criticizing Donald Trump. I did a search on Google and found that 12 Chinese people have won Nobel Prize. But most of them got PhD and Nobel Prize in the US. Is that because they quitted dumpling and to eat pineapple pizza? No, I think that's because American culture changed their thinking pattern. They could disobey authority in your country, have multi-faced thinking and open mind. I hope we will respect others' copyright and not just copy, and copy, but make real innovations. Sorry for making fun of Trump. I live in China now. Which president do you think I dare to tease? Thank you. Go back to you.
Our next speaker will be Sylvia Baptiste, and she is being evaluated by Mary.
I don't know his speech title.
Oh, okay.
So Sylvia's purpose is of this project to observe their time management patterns. Her pathways are managing time. The member will deliver a well-organized speech about any topic. The member may choose a speech about a time management exercise they complete during the project. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any of the members' choosing. The speech should not be reported on a content of the time management project. It's 5 to 7 minutes. And I don't know hers.
Okay.
She tried to give it to me, but
That's okay. Now, I'd like to introduce Sylvia. Her speech is, I don't know how, but it was done. Sylvia.
I don't know how, but it was done. Time is part of our life. It is not only part for some of us, it's all of us. So I'm going to use a 3-year-old as my example of speech this morning. This 3-year-old, we'll call him, what do you want to call him? Dave? We'll call him Dave today. So Dave, 3-year-old, is a bunches kid, very outgoing, active. And Dave may attend preschool, a preschool program, which lasts about 2.5 hours, 3 days a week. Or he could be at a daycare setting 5 days a week. So let's assume he's at this daycare setting. He is up early, out early at this daycare, depends on parents' work schedule. And he may be there late, 5:30, 6 o'clock. Yeah, it could be about a 9 to 10 hour day for this kid. So what does Dave do all day? Well, as soon as he gets in, there's going to be little reaction with the staff, little downtime, snack time, color time, art time, music time, another downtime, bathroom break time, rest time, another snack time, lunch time, of course, in between those two snacks. And he is putting in a lot in his 10-hour day. When you think about it, 9-hour day. So what if he ended up going to a 2.5-hour program? Still going to have art time, still going to have music time, going to have a snack time, maybe a little downtime, not really. All in 2 hours. That is a lot for a 3-year-old. But he survives. Matter of fact, he starts to enjoy it. It's a lot of cramming, that the time that we have. So in Pathways, as I was researching this project, it said you should do a log. Okay. I looked at this and I didn't print one out. Unfortunately, my printer wasn't working, but it was basically an Excel sheet. The date, your task of the day, when you're going to start, are you going to take a break during this day, and when it's going to end, how you want to adjust it for the future. This is my log. It's actually my Bible right now. I wish I did this when I had that 3-year-old at home, because that 3-year-old would have been more organized than I am today. Give you a little example. Okay, on the 3rd of November, 4 staff people will not show up to work. They're using their PTO time. I have a meeting with CICFP for food program. 2 grants have to be in by the 7th. Budgets, working on budgets, hair appointment, which is very important, on the 12th, and a finance meeting on the 18th to present the 2026 budget, plus hopefully get Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving day after off and not do more grant stuff. That's my week, or I should say that's my month so far. Then I have all these other lovely little notes in here. Clean out the balance sheet, unearned income, write off some of these grants we don't have anymore, and then find time to take my PTO time, because if I don't use it, I lose it. So we're going to go back to Dave, the 3-year-old. Okay, this 3-year-old, he crams many things in, doesn't complain at all. Happy-go-lucky. He's following his older brother to school activities, sports events, and whatever else is going on in life. At home, after that 9-10 hour day, he's still on a time. We still manage time. There's dinner time, bath time. Maybe read another story. Maybe get to watch a 30-minute cartoon before the bedtime and get up and start all over again. What a cycle. And not one complaint out of this child, because you know what? He is so active, he loves it. He loves interacting with the kids in the sports group with his older brother. The school activities get him used to going to the big school, the elementary school, and is a happy-go-lucky kid. Is he organized? Not at all. Thinking you got this going on, you got time to do this, you have to do that. It doesn't work. So I suggested a planner for him too, at age 29. Maybe you need a planner. And he just laughed and said, nah, it all works out. You did it. It all crams in, yes, but we all do it. Madam Toastmaster.
Our third speaker is a face we have not seen in person in quite a while, and we're very pleased that he can join us today. And that is Larry McKenzie, who is going to be evaluated by Jill.
Yes, not only is Larry McKenzie gracing us with his presence, he actually stepped up for being alternate speaker. So he is working out of the presentation mastery path. This is a level 3 elective, connect with storytelling. I think we're all familiar with that one because that's one of our favorite ones, I believe. His speech is 5 to 7 minutes, and his title is Tom, or TOM. I'm not sure which it really is. I think we will probably find out. Larry McKenzie.
As a young boy, I used to collect things, like many of us do when we're young. Comic books was one of my favorite things. I used to wait to get that 25 cents so I could go and buy 2 comic books. They were 12 cents each. They had went up from 10, so I was a little upset because I used to be able to get almost 3 if I could get another nickel somewhere. But as a young boy, I collected things, and those things were important to me. And if you go through life and you see all of the different things that you collect over the years, you wonder, wow, this was, oh, I can tell you a story about this, or I can tell you a story about that. Well, one of the things that I've done as I've become an adult is I collect hats. And each one of my hats tell a different story. This one is, for example, it's the Scarecrow hat. And October was Halloween, as Steve very much said so. So it was very serendipitous that I actually fell into the speaking role today because I said, well, I'll put myself down as an alternate speaker. And somebody who was number 3, I don't know who it was, decided, well, I don't want to be a speaker today, and I'll let Larry jump right in. So thank you for the opportunity today. The reason I was talking about collecting things as a young boy, as I progressed through my life, there were things in our household that were important to my parents that perhaps didn't have any meaning to me, but to them, they could tell you, well, Aunt so-and-so gave me this, or this was your grandmother's. At the time, I never thought about the significance of that. This summer, I had the opportunity, as many of you know, I haven't been around for a little bit, but during the summer, I summer out in Akron at a place called Leisurewood. It's a campground, and I do a lot of work out there. I had the opportunity to meet a gentleman who said to me, "Who are you?" And I said, "Who are you?" And that went back and forth, that banter, for a couple of minutes, because I was watching over a property for a gentleman who hadn't been there for about 4 years, an older couple. He said, "Well, I'm Tom's brother." Tom. I'd never met Tom. And Tom's not doing well. Tom's turning 87. He has macular degeneration, his eyes. He was going blind. And he was not going to be coming back to the camp, which he hadn't been to in almost 5 years. So his place there sat empty. His wife had passed a few years prior, but he always said, "I'm coming back, I'm coming back." He never made it. His brother was there because of the fact that Tom now was not able to care for himself because of his blindness. They were liquidating his belongings and his holdings, one of them being the camp. The brother came up from Florida and he's looking through and he said, "Well, we're going to sell the place." I said, "Very good, very good. But we have to clear it out." "Okay. Would you be interested in helping us?" Of course I would. So after we came to an agreement, what they needed was this 40-foot trailer, fifth wheel, which was completely full, emptied. Plus they had an attic room that was attached to it, which was a 10 by 30, full. Plus he had 2 sheds, 12 by 12, full. He also had a 6 by 12 Hallmark trailer, full. But they needed it all empty. Part of the deal was I got the trailer. Okay. So I started going through things and they said, "Well, there's a few things that we would like to have that are important to the family." Okay. Any black and white pictures that are from pre-1960, 1950? Also, Tom's Army hat, his TAM. We'd like to have that. And a Johnny Mathis Christmas album. Exactly. And I said, "That's it?" "Yes." "What about everything else?" "Do whatever you want with it, throw it out, give it away, sell it, whatever." it took me almost 3 weeks to clear out his property and everything that was there for a couple of reasons. All of the things that I felt important when I was young, oh, these are important. I want to keep this. This is my hat. It meant something to me. It had a memory that was attached to it. I'm now going through a person's life and their house and their belongings that meant something to them, that meant nothing to anyone else in his family. Throw it away. Pictures, belongings, everything, and collections. He collected bottle cap or bottle openers. He had over 100 and some odd bottle openers, Simon Pure, a lot of old. I would have maybe tossed them, but then I looked and I said, these might be worth something. They said I could keep them if I wanted. So now is it important to me where I'm collecting more things? The reason I brought Tom into my speech today was Tom is a person I never met, but over the course of 3 weeks, I know more about him than perhaps some of his family knows because I went through old pictures. I even found a grave marker for his wife who had passed. Her name was Vera. I asked the family, what would you like me to do with the stone? Oh, we don't have any use for it. Okay. What do you do with a grave marker? Things like that. War things where he was in the service, went through all of his papers, his discharge papers, and different things. Very interesting pieces of history. He collected newspapers. He had totes full of newspapers. The Buffalo News, John F. Kennedy was mentioned earlier today. I have, when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, the front page from the Buffalo News, those papers. The last Courier Express he has meant something to him. Also, I found 13 totes full of Avon decanters. All the old cars from like the 1960s, early 70s, he collected them. They meant something to him. They still had the cologne in them. Forest Woods, I think it was, and a couple of other. What do I do with these things? Do I just toss them? So I made a decision that I have an area of my property, which is a shed that I hadn't used. I decided to put some of them there and I'll go through them piece by piece just to see what was in there with some of the things. But Tom became an important part of my day because it made me think, what actually is important? Think about it. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
May we have a timer's report on our speakers?
Madam Toastmaster. Marshall Song, 6:45. Sylvia Baptiste, 6:24. And Larry, 7:39. I wish you had stopped a few seconds before. So Sylvia and Marshall are contestants for voting. Thank
you. Okay, so as she said, Sylvia and Marshall, you can place your vote. And before I proceed with the rest of the meeting, our evaluators, may I have Joe Budnick come up? He's general evaluator, and as often happens, I neglected to introduce him at the beginning.
Good morning, everyone. So I would like to introduce Our evaluators now. Our first evaluator evaluating Marshall's song is Tracy Farrell. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Today we got to listen to a speech from Marshall. He's speaking out of the Visionary Communication Manual, and this speech was definitely visionary. I'm going to start off by saying he started out with great gestures and very expressive, that kind of added to his speech. The topic is what was so visionary, trying to understand the cultural differences between China and the US. Well, this is serendipity that he's here in our Toastmasters and is able to explain those differences. I loved really hearing about those 3 points that he brought up: the authority and obedience, the black and white alternatives, and the prejudgment, which is a little bit different than how we as Americans think. He went on to say that China's really I should point out that he didn't bring out the fact that China is such a populous country, and having the obedience and following along is probably a little bit different there than here, where we're not as populous, we're not as dense. Our history is we came from rebellion and we separated ourselves from the New World. So going deeper into some of the history between China and the United States, I think would have added a lot to this speech. I also think maybe if you slow down just a tiny bit, because you had some really great nuggets of wisdom in your speech, and I just didn't catch them because you were speaking a little fast for me to pick up on everything. Like I said before, I would like you to just take that same subject and dive deeper into it. Make it not as broad, because that's a huge subject to bring up and try to explain to all of us. Take a smaller nugget of that speech and dive deep into it. And really make us understand that. I hope that you go on with these speeches, because it's fantastic for all of us to learn more about these cultural differences between our two countries. It helps us understand, it helps you understand where we're all coming from. And as I said in one of my previous evaluations on you, you're in the perfect spot. You're learning between the differences between China and the United States. There's huge opportunities for fantastic jobs because of this understanding of these cultural differences. So I do hope that you move forward and really dive into this subject, teach us the difference, and learn yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. Our next evaluator evaluating Larry is Mary. Thank you, Mary. You're not? Oh, I'm sorry, Sylvia. Okay. No problem.
So, Sylvia, you excelled in your topic. It was very good. Your timing was very well. I'm proud of you that you didn't go over. I like how you picked a toddler, especially Dave. Your eye contact was very good too. You were comfortable up here at the lectern at times. You spoke clear. You could work on in the future not using a lot of hand gestures, because I saw you use hand gestures. You should maybe challenge yourself with using an Excel sheet. In the future, you might want to use another time management speech and put a little bit more humor in it and use more different tones. Your clarification, your speech language was easy and understood. Your eye contact, it was very good. It was more efficient than some of the others. You used physical gestures too. And your comfort level, it was good. Extremely good. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
See you today at work, my dear.
Yeah, but it was a crazy kid.
Exactly. Bring your horse tranquilizer with you. So our next evaluator is Jill Roaring, and Jill will be evaluating. You will be evaluating Larry McKenzie. I got it right this time. There we go.
All right. Before you start timing me, I don't know if any of us were, how many of us were watching the football game Saturday evening. Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. I mean, Sunday. God. Oh. But I noticed, and I pointed out to Steve, that there was somebody speaking who was making a ton of money on his speaking ability, but apparently it's when he's severely practiced in following a script. But Patrick Mahomes was speaking so fast that Katie speaks slow compared to him. We're supposed to understand what he just said. Okay. So, to my evaluation now. Larry, so good to see you back. You've always got some wonderful stories to us, so obviously your connect with storytelling is there. I mean, we got it. You had a very nice explanation of the job and purpose that you had this summer there. I don't know how you did it all in 3 weeks, but good for you. I think most of us have experienced something on this nature of clearing out some clutter, whether it's our own, whether it's our parents, grandparents. Unfortunately, it does have to happen. So in that way, you definitely connected to all of us. You had some gestures here. You did your hat, but you could have done more. You're a little weak in that area. You could have even brought some of those little Avon decanters and stuff during the truck. Oh well. I know, Steve, in my experience, as soon as you said Avon decanters and how many, I was like, oh no. Because his aunt sold Avon for a while. And there was a thing in between his grandmother and his mother that they each had to buy the same thing. So not only did we have Avon decanters, we also often had duplicates. And some of those car ones have sold. We have been able to sell quite a few of them. We have one sitting there left right now. But in general, those car ones have sold at our lawn sales. The newspaper collections. How do you go through newspapers that are in a stack? Do you go through them one at a time? Do you just go through the whole pile and say, oh no, I'm just going to throw them all out? No, because you never know. There might be money in there. Some people stuff money in numerous places. Did you find any, Larry? He pleads the fifth on that one. So that's your vocal quality, as we all know. You having been a DJ, you know how to have a soothing voice, an exciting voice. We're all there as far as that goes. you can always improve. Everybody can improve their vocal quality, but Larry's is top notch to begin with. Like I said, your gestures were excellent. They can always be improved. And I get the red light, so I really think I should probably quit because I don't have much more to say anyhow. So thank you, Larry. Glad to see you here again.
May we have a timer's report?
Okay, evaluation times. Tracy Farrell, 310. Mary Cavanero, 148. And Jill Roaring, 313. They all look good to me. I think there's the buffer for Mary that qualifies her. Thank you.
Can you, Nancy, can you deliver mine? I would just like to, before we get reports, I would like to mention another holiday that, of course, has been brought up before, is Thanksgiving. And although we think of the first Thanksgiving being the Plymouth Colony feast, that was the passed on tradition that the New England colonists and the Wampanoag tribe of Native Americans had the first Thanksgiving, all the little pilgrim costumes and that we did in school. But actually another group came a couple years before, and they came from England and went up the James River in Virginia and had a harvest feast. Now, George Washington made November 26th a national day of thanks for our Constitution. And Lincoln made it designated the last Thursday of November for Thanksgiving, and FDR made it the fourth Thursday. And just wanted to mention during Thanksgiving time, for many years, all the time our children were growing up, and a lot of times just my husband and I now, we make Thanksgiving time our annual trip to Florida. And we have friends we celebrate with. And of course, when the kids were younger, it was all the theme parks. And I think and the message I'd kind of like to make about these November holidays is always vote. It's quite the privilege that many countries do not have, and that we're blessed with. And I'm sure we all know a veteran. Thank them for their service, or send them a card, or stop by, give them a call. Just acknowledge a veteran this year. And of course, be thankful. And Joe, if you'd like to get reports.
Love to. Thank you. Very interesting topic that we had today, significant events in November. I've always liked Thanksgiving because I get to go over to see my cousins, and my mother makes her famous strawberry rhubarb pie, which everybody devours like a bunch of sharks in a feeding frenzy, because she's very gifted at baking, which you all know from her marvelous cookies every year. And actually, my mom's birthday is in November too, November 23rd. So Evaluators, all three of you did a wonderful job. You all used the sandwich approach, which was very good, and all gave good advice and good suggestions for improvement. Very well done. Very serendipitous today. So I'd like to call our job holders today, and may we hear from our word master, Mike Florio. Thank you. Is it Mike? Oh, that's
Sure.
Mike.
Yeah. Wow, the word did very well.
Thank you.
I'll just go down the list here of everyone who used it. Sam came right out and used it. Dave Licata, Nancy, Kate, Mike Licata, Marty used it twice. Dave used it. Steve used it. Marshall used it. Larry used it. Jill used it. And Joe just used it. So the word serendipity did really quite well today. Thank you all.
Thank you. And our next job holder, may we hear from our grammarian, Dave Licata. Not Mike, Dave, yeah. Thank you, David. Good morning.
Margot, Nancy Ferry, Sam. Perfect. Then Carol Ann came up. And you snuck a ta in, and you had more than 5 ahs or ums. Okay. Dave Shannon did fine. He did distract me, however, by bringing up chestnuts this time of year. And I have vowed to find the right recipe because I really like chestnuts. Steve Smith did okay. It's great when you have a job like grammarian and you have to listen closely when Marshall speaks because he's trying to master the English language and he does a great job. I hope his teacher that put him onto Toastmasters is now leaving him alone. So it's nice to hear a guy really put a little extra effort in there in his grammar. Tracy had a little tiny faux pas. She used the phrase separated from the new world. She meant to say separated from the old world, I'm guessing. She had one ah. I'm sorry. All right, Joe Budnick, he had 2 so's. And Larry had a ta. And I'm sorry that I mentioned the ahs and ums. What was I thinking? But I don't apologize. We don't apologize here. There you go, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
And I think that's all of our job. Oh, no, we have our quiz master today, who's our master, yes. Thank you, Sam. Saw a blank space. There we go. So thank you.
You. Just gonna go down the list here. Carol, more than 5. Marty, 2. Dave Licata, 1. Right there at the end. Kate, 1. Tracy, 3. Sylvia, 2. Larry, 1. Joe, 1. Dave had 3. A lot of people had none, which is pretty impressive. So.
Thank you, Sam. And now we have our quiz master who so graciously stepped in for Katie. And I forgot your name, my dear.
Yang. My name is Yang.
Okay. Thanks a million. May we hear from you now? Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, Madam Toastmaster and fellow masters. I'm the quizmaster today, and I'm leaving to Australia today. So excited. My friend, several months ago, a friend of mine are going to visit her friend in Australia. And she invited me to go with her. That was a big responsibility. Go back to the questions. First question, did Marty's father go to Korea?
No.
Second question, who is Turkey on Thanksgiving Day?
Dave Shannon.
Okay. Make sure you speak into the microphone, my dear.
Oh, me?
Oh, okay.
You have to say everything you said.
Okay.
You have to transfer our
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Yes, you're fine.
Good.
Young, you're fine.
Oh, okay. Who is starting set up all Christmas toys outside from November?
Steve.
Steve.
Great. First question, what significant event happened on November 22nd, 1963?
JFK.
That most of you might.
Assassination of JFK.
JFK assassinated. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. What is the name of a 3-year-old boy mentioned in Sylvia's speech?
David.
Dave.
That's right.
Little Davy.
Who liked to collect things when he was a boy?
Larry.
And what kind of hat is he wearing?
Oh, Tam. Got the name of it.
Scarecrow.
Scarecrow. Yeah. Last question. What was first suggestion Tracy gave to Michelle?
Slow down.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have our winners today. And our winner for table topics is Marty Johnston. Congratulations, Marty.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Well, thank you, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm stay up there, I guess.
Okay. And our best evaluator today is Tracy Farrell. Thank you, Tracy. And last but certainly not least, our best speaker today is Marshall Song. Congratulations, Marshall. And Marty, if you'd like to pick the 50-50 for us, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
The last three numbers, 066. Steve Smith.
Congratulations, Steve. And I will turn this back over to our Toastmaster today. Thank you.
I would like to mention that we have in our family, our eldest daughter, Katie, was born on November 9th. However, I was due on Halloween. So that a lot of teasing went on there. And when she displays witchy behavior, But on election day that year, of course, I was still pregnant because she was born on the 9th. People would ask me, "Oh, you didn't have the baby yet?" And I'm thinking, really? Do you think I'm going to look like this after I have the baby? But anyway, that was, and we're looking for, my husband and I usually take her to dinner, and she enjoys the Seamus. Now, I'm not sure, I didn't look up who was, if anyone could mention who the Toastmaster is next. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Are you still out there in Zoom land? Mike Florio, you are the Toastmaster for next week. And the last announcement I want to make is Sam was gracious enough. I filed all of her paperwork this week, so she is our newest member. Welcome to AM Lockport. Thank you. And with that, I will close the meeting. Do we have any other announcements before I close the meeting? We're all set. Okay.